All right. Well, welcome to this week's Lunch Bite. My name is Meg Weber, and I'm with the Entrepreneurship and Innovation program. And we are so excited to be joined this morning by Yin from Trove, and Schantell Hummel, who's one of our amazing students, is going to be leading us through a walkthrough of some of the resources that we use to understand and amplify businesses in our community. So Schantell, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you, Meg. I'm Schantell Hummel. I'm a senior at Western Washington University, and I'm studying business management and also entrepreneurship. I'm in the minor. And I get the pleasure of introducing Yin-Ho today. So I'm going to talk a little bit about him, and then we'll go into customer profiles and do some interview questions based off those. So Yin has owned is owning several businesses in Bellingham, Washington. He graduated from WWU in 2011 with a degree in accounting and also an MBA in 2012. He started his career at a public accounting firm in Redmond and earned a CPA license, which he still maintains to this day, but realized that he had to follow his dreams and passions for starting his own business. So it all started for him when cannabis became legal in Washington state, and he was lucky enough to be awarded a marijuana retail license. With this came an opportunity to learn about commercial real estate development, as him and his team had to construct their retail campus from the ground up. After a very labor-intensive year and a half of engineering, planning, and construction, they were finally able to open the doors to Trove Cannabis, and a couple years later, Trove Coffee. So without further ado, I'll just ask a quick question to start us off. Can you tell us a little bit about the background of Trove and how it all started?
Yeah, my name is Yin. I'm the owner of Trove, and thanks for having me. Yeah, to answer your question about the background of Trove, it really started from, I guess, a personal interest in the marijuana industry. Ever since I was in high school and college, it was always something that was interesting because you have people around you that were smoking weed, for lack of a better term, and it was interesting to me because I recognized the medical properties of marijuana, and so I was a former athlete and I injured my back, and I dealt with back pain for a number of years, and so I tried a lot of different things, physical therapy, yoga, and until I saw a doctor who recommended marijuana for medical purposes. I hadn't really thought about how powerful that can be. And I didn't use it very much, but it was able to help me get better and heal. And so that kind of got me really passionate about, trying to further the marijuana industry. And at the time, it was still illegal. There were some regulatory framework for medical patients, but I saw it as an amazing opportunity. And I never thought the day would come where it would be legalized in Washington, like in my lifetime. And so I would say the history behind Trove and the meaning for me behind it was, as a business person, I am very driven, I'm passionate, I'm very entrepreneurial, and to be able to bring that level of experience, expertise, and maybe professionalism into an industry that I cared so much about on a personal level, that's where it was all about, and that's how Trove got started.
Great, thank you. I am going to share my screen really quick now. We have some graphics I'm going to present. So from talking with Yin or emailing back and forth a little bit, these are 3 of the customer personas that he mentioned to me. I'm sure there's more. So we have Sam, medical patient, Rose, infrequent recreation, and David, experienced connoisseur. And these are examples that I pulled from his personas that he sent me. So what does empathy mean to you, Yin, in terms of customer relationships?
Well, I haven't been a customer myself, and what we learned going to school, and also just as a consumer, what it means for me in terms of empathy for customer relationships is putting yourself in the shoes of the customer when they come in, and that's something we constantly try to do. We're very self-critical of our operations, and we strive for having the best customer service possible. And of course, there are times where not everyone's going to be happy, but for us being empathetic and really understanding and seeing the experience from the consumer and the customer's eyes when they walk into our store, that is something we try to do every single day. And that's how we want to improve on. If we walk into the store and maybe things look chaotic, then we try to imagine, what would the customer think? Would that make them feel delighted coming in? Or would that make them feel confused or not want to come back? So in terms of consumer empathy, that's something we really think about. It's that experience when they come in. Now, the other side of it is, sometimes we'll have a bad interaction with a customer. And, we're taught to think that, the customer's always right. And that is a principle you want to live by. But what we want to do is, instead of just assuming that the customer's always right, we try to understand how we got to this negative experience in the first place. If a customer's really upset with us, for good reasons or bad, we really try to understand. We ask questions. We try to de-escalate any situation if it needs to be de-escalated. But really, it's like really trying to understand where they're coming from. Sometimes they could be unreasonable, but maybe they're having a bad day. And so for us, we're not here to pass judgment. We're here to try to facilitate a good shopping experience. And so I think really genuinely trying to understand your customer from their point of view, that's how you become empathetic, I think.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Following these examples, are there any other target customers you would like to discuss today, or anything you'd like to add so far?
Honestly, I think these three categories pretty much sums up the categories and demographics of the consumers. Of course, there's a lot in between too, but I think these three will be a good start to talk about.
Great. Okay. So today we're going to go more in depth on Sam. So we're going to go more in depth on Sam, the medical patient, and then after this we're going to go through customer experience with Sam. So customer profiles can look a lot of different ways, and you can go in depth as much as you need to, or for our class specifically, we mainly talk about customer pain and gains. For Sam specifically, he's 60 years old, he's married, he lives in Bellingham, Washington, and he's recently diagnosed with cancer and is battling with pain. And his online behaviors include, he mainly uses Facebook, doesn't really use other social media platforms because that's just too foreign to him, finds information through a Google search or from a blog post. And what he's looking for, a place close to home, wants to try alternative medicines, and people who influence him are health professionals and his close friends and family. Going through his customer journey. This is our customer journey. And first off, I want to ask you, Yin, what do you do to continue and to refine and serve your customers' needs? How do you stay curious about your customers?
Well, I think, for instance, in this particular customer, I think education and resource is very important. And especially when you have someone who is seeking our products, not just for recreational purposes, but for medical reasons. For our standpoint, being the utmost professional, having vetted, deeply researched information to provide at their fingertips, that is something that we really strive for. And I think that's something that a customer of this profile would really appreciate. There's a lot of shops out there and a lot of other businesses too, not just marijuana retail stores, that are maybe more fun and recreational based and less serious. And for us too, is because we are recreational and a medical, we have to find that fine balance where we can appeal to people who want to come in for fun, to buy products for recreational purposes, but also serious enough where your medical patients who come in can find their medicine as well. And so to appeal to a demographic like this, we really strive for, training up our employees so that they're the utmost knowledgeable in terms of the newest research and development on the medical effects and properties of marijuana, like CBD, CBG, and how all those interact with the body. Now, because in the state of Washington, we're not healthcare practitioners, we're not doctors or nurses, we're prohibited from making any medical claims or giving any advice, which I think is a good thing because we're not doctors. But one thing we are able to do is offer a lot of testimonials to our patients. If a patient comes in and says, hey, I have cancer and I'm in a lot of pain, what products will help me the most? For us, like, we can't guide them through exactly, oh, this will help you with your pain, this will help cure cancer, because that's just not the case. But what we are able to offer is, hey, we've had a lot of other patients who have come in that are in a similar situation, and they have given us very positive feedback about these sorts of products, and here's their stories, and here's why they like it. But what we want to do is educate the patient and all of our customers too, is that everybody's bodies are different, how your body reacts to certain products. And so what we tell them is like, hey, instead of going for the most expensive ones first, maybe try these things that we've heard great feedback for. And if it doesn't work for you, don't worry, come back, we'll help you find something else. And so it's a journey, really. Everyone, especially when it comes to alternative medicine, it's not one size fits all. And so what we really try to do is to teach our customers that, like, hey, there's so many different things out there. We're still trying to learn about it every single day. And so let's do it together. It's a joint effort.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so
I'm not sure if that answered your question already.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Thank you. This is Sam's customer experience. And again, this is just an example that we came up with based on some information. So we have a customer journey broken into 3 different phases: awareness, consideration, purchase, service, and loyalty. And you can do a customer journey map in many different forms. This is a little more in depth, but there's also some basic ones out there as well. But to start off, so awareness, Sam searches medical marijuana on a search engine. He asks a health professional about it, and then he goes into consideration phase. So going off of this consideration phase, what are some challenges that you have faced, Yin, in terms of marketing specifically to this medical patient persona?
Yeah, I would say the challenges in terms of marketing is just state regulation for all marketing purposes. We're prohibited. There's more restrictions on our advertising than not. And one of the other biggest issues for us is because the marijuana industry is so young, us as owners and workers in this industry are still learning a lot every single day. And even customers are learning a lot. There's a lot of misinformation out there. It's a whole new world. And so I think the challenge is to stand out from the rest and also educate the customers into finding out that not all products are equal. Not all shops are created equal either. And I would say the hardest is because there are so many shops, even just in our county, here in Whatcom County alone, that a lot of people go for convenience. It makes sense. A lot of the shops do offer similar products. The one thing we really pride ourselves in is that, a lot of our employees are state licensed medical marijuana consultants. We go through more rigorous training. Whether everyone finds value in that, I think that's something that they'll have to discover on their own. So I would say the hardest is to being able to have a voice to showcase people. We do have a voice, but we don't really have a lot of platforms to show that to people. So as of right now, to spread the message to customers and patients with this profile, it's word of mouth, and hoping that by doing it right every single time, every day, that people will tell their friends and family about what we're all about.
Yeah, for sure. I have noticed that Trove Cannabis is not on Facebook or Instagram. Does that link to what you're saying, like marketing regulation wise?
Marketing regulations, yeah. And, in the past, we did have Facebook and Instagram, but there was a period of basically a purge where a lot of these accounts got flagged and removed. And right now we're still working towards trying to relaunch our Instagram and Facebook pages, but it's pretty discouraging when you put a lot of effort into it, you build up a lot of followers and have really good content, and it just gets shut down, and you can't really even appeal it. No one at Instagram or Facebook will talk to you. So right now, we're trying to build that department up again by working with people that have a lot of experience in this and that can actually dedicate time to establish a voice via these platforms. So we're hoping maybe before end of this year, we'll be back up and running again.
Yeah, great. Awesome. So going through the consideration phase now, Sam browses local cannabis shops in Bellingham online and compares options and proximity to home. This kind of ties to what you were talking about, Yin, about, convenience for the customer. Another question I have is, what have you and your team done during this pandemic to pivot? And is the online ordering on your website a new component to Trove?
Yeah, that's a great question. The online ordering has something that's been on the website for about 2 years at this point. It was something that was really important to us even from 2 years ago when we switched to a new point of sale company. And unlike a lot of other platforms that we've seen where you can embed an online menu or an online ordering platform via those third-party services, we actually hired our own team to build out our own platform. So it was tailored to our specific needs, and it was all the codes and everything's our intellectual property. And we spent a good chunk of investment money into building it, but in the end, we're really glad we did. And think long term, maybe back 2 years ago, because we recognize at the beginning everyone wanted to come into the stores to browse the products in person, to talk to our employees or bud tenders. As time went on and as the consumers get smarter and are more educated, they might not need to be handheld so much and need to come in and ask for advice. And you can do a lot of the shopping online, as we've seen with everything else. You can buy clothing, you can buy groceries online now. And so for us, having the robust online menu and online ordering system was really important to us. And now when the pandemic hit, we did have to pivot our operations quite a bit. We were one of the first to install plexiglass barriers around basically every surface. So when you come in, like between the employees and our customers, there's a 6 foot tall barrier. We had crowd control barriers set up. We had the 6 feet demarcation markers and everything. And it was really nice to see people finally realizing that we had an online ordering system. In the past, we would probably get maybe 10 to 20 online orders a day. And at the height of the pandemic, we had 80, 90. And it was really nice to really test out and prove that, hey, our platform worked and people saw the convenience and value in it. So that was really good. And being able to offer that to customers to reduce the wait time in our store and reduce exposure to each other, and creating a separate line for an express checkout. As soon as they place an order, they get an alert when the order's been received, and then another alert when the order's been fulfilled. And when they come in, they can just skip the line, they get the order, make their payment, and they can be on their way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that might be something super important to the medical patients that are older too, with immune compromised systems.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So going through the purchase phase now, we have drives and arrives at the shop, asks for knowledge on products, and he chooses the product based on some of the knowledge he just gained, and uses a debit card to pay. And as for the service phase, I have one question based on this. What kind of atmosphere do you and your team hope to create at Trove versus other cannabis shops?
The atmosphere we hope to create is that, it's a good shopping experience. It's relaxing, and it's not something that is exclusive. Some things that we have seen in this industry too is, because of the history of marijuana, it attracts a lot of people from a certain type that were part of the black market, that may have had a lot of experience and are big users of marijuana. And so what we try to do is we don't want to intimidate our customers. Of course, we want to be as knowledgeable as possible, but we don't want to be snooty. And we don't want a customer coming in to feel like they're being judged for, maybe buying something that our employees might not enjoy consuming themselves. And that was something that, it took us a while to really fine tune that kind of, attitude and that kind of atmosphere. It just came naturally. A lot of the employees that we had in the first round have been in this industry for many, many years, and some of our customers were first-time users or people that haven't used it in over 30 years. And the last thing you want them to feel is discouraged from coming in because we're too knowledgeable, or we might turn them away because they feel intimidated. And so for us, it's really creating an atmosphere where we're professional, we're friendly, and yeah, you can browse on your own. You don't have to talk to someone if you really don't want to. And if you really want to get a lot of knowledge and learn from us, we're happy to share that as well. So.
Great. Yeah, thank you. So as for the service phase, Sam would try the product and then determine if the product is working to his liking. So a question based off this is, how do you track customer satisfaction? I know you touched on this a bit earlier, like asking your customer to come back in, but you want to elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, in terms of gauging customer loyalty, we're able to finally launch like a new loyalty program via our point of sale system, and that was something that very much available in most other industries, but it took the marijuana industry at least a few years to really catch up with, have the proper infrastructure to handle that. And so now, we're able to encourage our customers to sign up for a profile with us. And so with the profile, they can earn points and they can come back as the more they purchase, the more points they can redeem. And what it also does for us too is it gives us an opportunity to connect with our customers on a deeper, more intimate level. They can opt in or opt out for text messaging, for a newsletter, and that is one of the best ways for us to let them know, hey, we have some new products in, or we're having a big sale this weekend to give back to you guys. And but yeah, in terms of gauging loyalty, it's really that's nothing super high tech, pretty primitive. It's just a loyalty program, and you can come in, type in your name or phone number, and that's a good way to stay connected with the customer.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So now going finally to loyalty. So hopefully then Sam would have great experience and finds that the product is helping him, and he recommends Trove to his friends and family, and goes through with the membership. Is that the same? Are you doing a new membership versus the gold membership, or is that still staying?
So we're still keeping the gold membership right now. And funny, before the pandemic hit, we spent probably 6 months with some consultants and our partners as well to figure out a new way to develop a new loyalty program that was easier to understand and that might bring more value to the customers. And we're about to do it, but then the pandemic hit and we just couldn't focus on that. So as of right now, that's still being tabled for now. And so we will have the gold membership still. And even when the time comes when we do introduce a new exciting loyalty program, which we're maintaining as a secret right now, but we will, whoever is a gold member right now will be grandfathered in, and we'll maintain those perks and benefits. But we figured, now just wasn't the right time to try to introduce something so new and so disruptive.
Yeah, definitely understandable. Well, that's all the questions I have. Did you want to add anything on to that at all, or any other comments?
No, I guess to kind of round it up in terms of the customer journey map, and you did a really nice job laying out how they got interested in the products, and then doing some research, finding out who we are, to coming in and making a purchase and maybe being very satisfied, recommending friends and family. This is a great journey map. It's actually really helpful for us to see it laid out like this too. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I can definitely send this off to you too.
Oh, that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, both Schantell, and this was just an amazing opportunity to walk through your business together and get to know some of the tools. We are super grateful to be able to walk through that with you. I have another question, which is what have you seen in terms of your sales impact throughout the pandemic?
Yeah, it was really unexpected, but we saw quite a bit of sales growth during the pandemic. And I guess looking back, it kind of makes sense. At the beginning, when we knew that California started the shelter in place, we had no idea what was going to happen to Washington. We had no idea whether we would be forced to shut down as well. And so I think a lot of people did a lot of panic buying, kind of like with the toilet paper and paper towels. And so we saw a huge surge in traffic and purchase tickets, and which it was concerning as well because of the surge in traffic. So it was really important for us to install the barriers, have the crowd control to make sure everyone, including ourselves, stayed safe and felt safe coming in too. And when we were deemed as an essential business, luckily we were able to stay open. And so that was really nice, being able to remain open, not just for people who needed weed to maybe stay relaxed and calm at home, but also we do have patients that come in and rely on us for their medicine, and so being able to be there for them was really nice. And so we just see a growth, and things have for the most part kind of gone back to normal now in terms of traffic, and it was an interesting past few months, to say the least.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us for Lunch Bites. This has been a great session. Thanks to you both.